Hi everyone. This is my very first time ever doing anything on YouTube. So um, I don't know anything about editing or lights or anything like that. So if you looked around, this is very impromptu. Um, but really, what I wanted to come on and talk about was a recent surgery that I had. I had gone on the internet and tried to get some information about it. I had suffered with fibroids for many years. I have a 6-year old son, and that was when I discovered that I had fibroids that were actually, it was really one fibroid that had grown, and it caused problems during the pregnancy and even more problems during my labor and delivery. And later on, I found out, of course, that fibroids can ultimately keep you from getting pregnant or basically strangle the child because it's fighting for, it's going back and forth and fighting with the child for nourishment because, of course, the fibroid needs to live also. And it's trying to live in the same compartment that a baby is trying to develop and grow in. Um, so, um, thank the Lord, I had a beautiful son. Um, the complications due to the fibroid was that I ended up having to have an emergency cesarean. Um, it was awful. It was terrible. Um, Completely unexpected. Um, but that's what happened. So as the years progressed, I started to sense things in my body changing. They didn't remove the fibroid at that time. They said that I had several options to leave it there. And mind you, at this time, it was the size of a small grapefruit. And listening to what I heard on the internet during my research before I had my surgery, um, my understanding is that that's very large for it to just be a fibroid that's left inside the body. So of course, at that point, my understanding was okay. Well, it's the size of an orange, it's not, or the size of a small grapefruit. It's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. It's not causing me any problems. But not realizing that my body was slowly adapting to all of the changes and the issues that I was having. I was just adapting to those issues. Um, and when I say the side effects, it's basically being pregnant again. The heaviness, the bloating, um, just, I don't want to say incontinence, but just when you have to use the restroom, it's immediate. I mean, there's no waiting. You beeline it to the bathroom. Um, the pressure, I began to have back problems. Um, Not realizing, of course, like I said, that the fibroid was growing. So fast forward 6 years later, almost 7 years later, I I could physically see laying on my back that there was something inside of my stomach. It was protruding out of my stomach. Um, it was alarming. I was nervous to go and get it checked, but of course I knew that I had to. At that point, they told me that it was large. I did have the option of letting it stay there and just waiting for menopause, whenever that would happen, or getting on birth control to see if that would slow or at least stop the progression of the tumor. Um, so, of course, I, being fearful of the whole procedure and going under the knife and the whole process of surgery, I opted to just wait. Well, I want to say months later, I went back for another um, evaluation. And at this point, it was, my symptoms were just outrageous. I mean, just being so tired, just lethargy, just unable to really be productive during my day. Going to work every day, I work 40 plus hours a week. I have 2 children. I am a single mom, um, recent single mom. So all this is new, the anxiety, the just everything associated with being on your own and the stresses and just the self-induced stress, because when you feel like everything is on your shoulders, you can't drop the ball in any area of your life. And as we as women, we have to be multifaceted, and I'm mom, I'm dad, I am disciplinarian, I am playmate, I am bus driver. We do it all. And so in the process of doing it all, um, I was just completely tired. I was completely, here's one that wanted to be on camera. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. I was completely tired all the time, um, to the point that it was just exhausted. By the time I got home, made dinner, did homework, played with the kids, did our thing, I was getting to bed at like 9, 10 o'clock, even though that's not late. Having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do it all over again, I was just exhausted. Like, my quality of life had gone down to nothing. I was going to the gym at least 3 or 4 times a week. And that was between, all of everything else that was going on in my life. But I had to cut that out because I just couldn't handle the stress. I couldn't handle the pressure of not getting any rest. Even sleeping at night was difficult. And I'm telling you, it's literally like being pregnant. Hunger, anemia. I'm severely anemic. So you can imagine, on top of everything else, and then having a cycle, like you're already anemic, and then having a cycle, and losing even more blood, that just adds to the already exacerbated symptoms of the fibroid. So having this tumor in my lower abdomen, even wearing clothes, I'm not a big person at all. So when I would wear anything that was close fitting or anything that, required a belt, you could see that I had a pouch there, but the pouch was firm. It wasn't like just weight. It was a firm knot that you could visibly see in my stomach. So the discomfort of that is just, there are no words. There just aren't any words to describe. I would look like I was pregnant. So the doctor compared it to being about 18 weeks pregnant. So I'm walking around with this inside of me. And then the mental part of it too. Like, okay, I have this thing growing inside of me that I'm nourishing. Like, I'm supplying life to. And it's just draining me. It's being pregnant for years. So I go and talk to the doctor, and he, by the second time, within 6 months when I go back to the doctor and have another evaluation, he's like, well, if I told you last time there was an option, there is no option now. This is rapidly growing. We need to do something. You don't have any options. You have to have this removed. So, of course, panic set in, and I automatically knew, this is something I have to do. I have to face the consequences. I have to deal with it. And when I say deal with it, I mean, like I said, I'm a single mom. I have 2 children. I have to get my transportation for the boys worked out. That's to and from school, to and from babysitter. Taking time out for myself to heal. They told me that this would be a 6 to 8 week process. I had the surgery on the 7th of this month, and I think today is like the 12th or so. Something like that, around the 12th. So this is a few days after surgery, and I can tell you that I'm still in a lot of pain. The process of getting my job in alignment with having the procedure done, that's 6 to 8 weeks out of work. So I had to get my short-term disability set up. And there are a lot of things, like I said, when I researched this online, there are a lot of things that I didn't find out, and I couldn't, there just wasn't a lot of information on. But these are things that during the process you really have to think about. Support system. There was a point where I really thought that I would have to go into surgery by myself, because, unfortunately my mom is very ill. She's fighting with her own issue. My father just felt like that was inappropriate. Just weird. So, didn't want him there. My sister, she lives, far away. She has is a professional person. Didn't have too much time left, and, I just didn't think she'd be able to be there. She has obligations. I have a younger sister. She's dealing with some, things in her life. So, thought I had to go in. My sister, it's my twin sister actually. She surprised me and came into town, and she was there with me throughout the entire process. She spent the night with me. I'm so thankful. Her and her husband. They came down and they just spent that time with me. And I really, there are no words to express. And, to further that, there are no words to express how important it is to have at least someone there to be an advocate, someone there to be a source of support for you. I really needed her, and I'm a very independent person. I don't like to ask for help. I don't like to, it's just my personality. I like to be self-sufficient. So to have to ask for that help was hard for me. So thankfully, they all knew better than I did. I admit it. And I did have to ask. She just showed up, and she was there for me throughout the entire process. When I woke up out of the surgery, I can tell you that I was in excruciating pain. The pain was unbelievable, unexpected, unbearable. And this is not to bring fear. It's just the reality of the type of situation or the type of surgery that you're going to have. It's a very serious surgery. It's not a minor, outpatient surgery. It's a surgery. Fortunately, I did not have to be recut during, where my cesarean was. I was able to have a robotic surgery where they took, and I'm just going to be very wide open with my process because, like I said, I didn't find a lot of information on what to expect. So I had it vaginally removed. And they said that they had to, it was a long process because they had to cut as they went and remove the tumor as they went because it was so large. It had protruded into my back, which was causing a lot of severe pain, which at the time I didn't know. I just thought I was stressed and, had a long day at work, stood on my feet, or just, I attributed it to many things. Didn't know that it was actually the tumor that was growing into my back causing that discomfort. So woke up out of the surgery very, very much in pain. My pain, they kept saying that I would feel a lot of cramping, but it didn't feel like cramps. It felt like labor. It felt like I was literally in labor. And I can imagine that they must have had to dilate my cervix because of the type of procedure that I had done. So I was feeling intense labor pains when I woke up, and it started immediately. I breathe through them like I would have, or like I did during my 3 prior pregnancies. Dealt with it. They gave me morphine. That helped, but of course everything wears off. They kept me well medicated, I can say that. But you're still going to feel the side effects. You're still going to have to endure it. Being home, I'm nervous because I'm down to, the last very bit of my medication. I'm sure if I call it in, they would give me, another prescription. Don't know, but that's my assumption because the type of surgery I had is a very serious surgery. And they said I lost a lot of blood, so they sent me home with pain medication as well as iron. They were thinking of doing a transfusion before my actual procedure, which they did not end up doing. I'm thankful that they didn't do it. However, me not being an expert and just thinking about the whole process, I don't know that I would be in a better position starting out. At home, just fresh fluids from the IV and a transfusion. I think may have gotten me off to a better start at home throughout the healing process, as opposed to kind of feeling like I'm starting but with a setback. I do still feel very tired, but I know, like I said, it's a process. I'm still in healing stages, and I'm one of those instant gratification